Looking for magic cards? At flipsidegaming.com you can now use the promo code LVD to get a 10% discount on orders over $10, and starting from now you also get entered into the Ravnica Allegiance booster box giveaway, which runs until January 28th. Hello and welcome to another Magic Arena gameplay video. This video was made possible thanks to Wizards of the Coast that invited me to participate in the early access streamer event, and we got access to these accounts with a lot of gems and all the cards from the new set unlocked, so we got to try constructed decks with no limitations essentially, and we tried lots of different decks. And one of the decks we had the most fun with that we built during the stream was a Temur colored Gates deck that features a lot of the new gate synergies featured in Ravnica Allegiance, and the deck is pretty budget friendly since we don't need a lot of rares, since the mana base consists mostly of gates, which are commons, and the payoff cards are mostly commons and uncommons. So let me walk you through the entire deck here. So we're a gate deck, and the payoff cards for playing a whole bunch of gates, well, the win conditions, I guess, are Gatebreaker Ram, 3 mana for a 2/2 that gets +1/+1 for each gate we control. And as long as we control 2 or more gates, Ram has Vigilance and Trample, so of course scales nicely into the late game. And then the other big win condition in the deck is Gate Colossus, 8 mana for an 8/8 that costs 1 generic mana less to cast for each gate we control. And then Gate Colossus cannot be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, and whenever a gate enters the battlefield under our control, we can put the Gate Colossus from our graveyard on top of our library, so we can keep getting it back and replay it. And of course, once we get to a high number of gates in play, Gate Colossus becomes very cheap to play and makes it very easy to replay Colossus after getting it back on top of our library. So a nice recursive threat. So Gatebreaker Ram and Gate Colossus are 2 massive threats that can deal a ton of damage out of nowhere. And then the rest of the deck features some other gate synergies like Guild Summit, which is one of the centerpieces of the deck as well. 3 mana enchantment. When Guild Summit enters the battlefield, we can tap any number of untapped gates we control, and then draw a card for each gate tapped this way. And then whenever a gate enters the battlefield under our control, we can draw a card. So most of the time when we play Guild Summit, we're just playing it for 3 mana, and then with every future gate we play, we'll get to draw a card. But if you draw the Guild Summit late and don't have any other action going on, you can always just tap a whole bunch of gates to draw a lot of cards right away. And Guild Summit also works very nicely with Circuitous Route, which is our 4 mana ramp spell, letting us search our library for up to 2 basic land cards and or gate cards, and put them on the battlefield tapped. So we're often just going to search up 2 gates, put them on the battlefield, and then draw 2 cards for each copy of Guild Summit that we have in play, so that can quickly translate into a lot of cards. Guild Summit also synergizes nicely with Gate Colossus. If we have a Gate Colossus in the graveyard, we can stack the trigger from Guild Summit and from the Gate Colossus when we play Gate in such a way that we put the Gate Colossus on top of our deck and then draw a card with Guild Summit, and then basically end up drawing the Gate Colossus so we can replay it right away. So that also works out nicely. Then another synergy with Gates is Gates Ablaze, 3 mana for a sorcery that deals X damage to each creature, where X is the number of gates we control. So you do have a little bit of control over how many gates are in play, so every now and then it's correct to only play 7 gates. So if you play a Gates Ablaze, you don't end up killing your own Gate Colossus, but sometimes you just end up with too many gates in play and it turns into a 3 mana Wrath effect, killing everything in play, which is still fine. So this is a great tool against any aggressive strategy. And Gates Ablaze alongside 4 copies of Lava Coil are the main removal spells in our deck. Lava Coil, 2 mana sorcery dealing 4 damage to a creature and exiling it if it dies. And then we also have a bit more removal in the form of Ral, which can -3 to deal damage equal to the number of instants and sorceries in our graveyard and in exile to target creature. And then the +1 can also provide a bit of card advantage and card selection, and then the -8 is also game winning. So Ral, pretty flexible card, not a must-have, so if you're short on mythic wild cards, then Ral is definitely not necessary. It can easily be replaced with something else, some more card draw. But in the games we played, Ral was performing pretty well, so I don't mind the inclusion. And then another spicy new addition from Ravnica Allegiance is 2 copies of Rhythm of the Wild, 3 mana enchantment that says creature spells we control cannot be countered, so great against any control deck relying on counter spells, since then we get to play an uncounterable Goat or uncounterable Gate Colossus. And then non-token creatures we control have Riot, which means that as they enter the battlefield we can choose to put a +1/+1 counter on them or give them haste, and most of the time we're gonna choose haste in this deck, since that means we get to attack with a hasty Gate Colossus or Gatebreaker Ram, which also has Trample, which can add up to a lot of damage out of nowhere, especially considering every now and then you might end up playing Gate Colossus for 1 or 0 mana if you have enough gates in play, so that can definitely lead to some blowouts combined with Rhythm of the Wild. And then the only other cards we haven't mentioned yet are Growth Spiral, 2 mana for an instant that lets us draw a card, and then we can put a land from our hand onto the battlefield, so plays very nicely with Guild Summit since we can put an extra gate into play and then draw extra cards with Guild Summit, and just helps us ramp so we can get to our more expensive spells. And then we also have the full 4 copies of Open the Gates, 1 mana sorcery that can search up a basic land or gate to put into our hand. So it can also help us fix our mana as long as we have green mana early, and in the late game we often want to get gates to improve our gate synergies or to draw extra cards with Guild Summit. And then we also have 2 copies of District Guide, 3 mana 2/2 that can search up a basic land or gate when the elf enters the battlefield. So sometimes you'll end up getting a basic land just to make sure you can play certain cards on curve, but oftentimes you end up getting the gates anyway because they make some of your cards better. And yeah, I think that's pretty much the entire deck. Then looking at the mana base, only 22 lands because we do have the 4 copies of Open the Gates, so it's kind of like we have 26 lands in a way. And our mana base features a full 12 Guild Gates in the Temur colors, and then also the full 4 copies of Plaza of Harmony, which sadly does not count as a gate, but when it enters the battlefield, if we control 2 or more gates, we also gain 3 life, so another valuable tool against aggro decks, and then taps to add 1 mana of any type that a gate we control could produce. So often just taps for the color we want it to. And then a few basic lands, 3 forests, 2 mountains and 1 island that we can search up with District Guide or Open the Gates if we want an untapped land instead. And then of course all these cheap instants and sorceries like Open the Gates, Lava Coil, Growth Spiral all help us fuel Ral as well, so he can -3 and maybe kill a creature. So yeah, that's pretty much the deck. Very cheap to build, very fun to play. And now I'll show you some clips from the stream where we tried out the deck. Some of the cards in the deck might be slightly different from what you see here, since we kind of fine-tuned the deck along the way. So if you see a card that's not in this list, then don't panic. But yeah, this is pretty much where we arrived at, so this is a good starting point if you're trying the deck yourself. So that's the deck. Now let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. Alright, we'll try this, I guess. Like Ral and Treasure Map could also end up being cut for cheap removal spells instead. Not sure if we want to play Guild Summit first or District Guide. I guess we'll Guild Summit. How about the dino that lets you play extra lands per turn? I don't think we're gonna have too many lands in hand at any point, but I guess it's nice with Guild Summit. I don't know. Could be good. What other decks have we played today? We've first started with Rakdos Demons, which was a little janky, a few too many expensive demons, but then we tried Simic Birthing Pod, which was quite strong. And then we also tried Orzhov Aristocrats, which was pretty promising too. Alright. So we could play a District Guide here, or we could play a Ram. I think we'll play a Ram. 5/5 is not bad. Can start pressuring Domri. Let's get a forest. Did we get Niv Mizzet in the pod deck? No, the pod deck was just blue-green, trying to get the 5 mana Ooze and then just go to town with Ooze. The Ooze also seemed pretty promising. Alright, Lava Coil, nice answer to the Midnight Reaper here. Can play a cheap Gate Colossus too. So how about we do this, and we do this. Tarmagate. Ah, another one. Oh well, at least they're ramping us. I still can't get over the fact that they gave him a British accent. Alright. Ooh, how about double Colossus? Don't mind if I do. I guess we could root first and then just play 3 Colossus too. 1 mana Colossus. One mana Colossus seems strong. Man, this deck got me excited. I thought it was like a janky deck idea, but like we're doing some busted things. Another Domri. Sure. So we can lava coil whatever blocker they play here. I guess they make it a 5/5. How much can Ral deal damage? Just 2. So not sure what we should do here. We could Ral go digging for a sweeper effect. How many gates do we have in play? 7, so that's like the perfect amount for Gate Colossus to survive. So if we can Ral and draw into one of our gates ablaze, then that would be pretty sick. So I think we'll start there. And if we miss, we'll see what we want to do next. Alright. One-sided sweeper. And play a Plaza into Disregard. Take action. Kill that, kill that. Ravager Worm. So small compared to our Gate Colossus. It's gonna have to stay on defense, otherwise they're dead to Gate Colossus on the way back. And now we can just Lava Coil, minus Ral, and that's game. Wow. This deck. Alright, how about this one? Double Force is a little sketchy, but it's funny when you have an opening hand. And it's sketchy because you don't have enough gates. Alright, Spiral's a nice draw. Hopefully draw some more gates here. Alright. I think I'll just main phase it here. Perfect. Got rewarded too. Let's get the red-blue. And then try and resolve the guild summits. Probably gets countered. I guess we could have tried to growth spiral this turn instead, but if it does resolve, then playing Guildgate here is pretty nice. Alright. Well, if we're up against a control deck that doesn't close the game quickly, Guild Summit's gonna draw us a lot of cards. I guess this turn we can Guild Summit plus Growth Spiral. Might be okay, otherwise we could District Guide. I think this works out better. Sadly, Plaza not a gate. Alright, so they will counter the second copy. Pass a turn. Spiral end of turn. Pretty close to casting Colossus too. And Grath. I'm guessing we won't need this Gate Ablaze. Should have cast a Growth Spiral first just to see what we draw, but put that in play. Alright, so we get to play Colossus here after drawing a card. Seems good. It's probably not gonna stick around for long. But if they kill it, we just get it back.
No fire,
Yeah, if they ever steal the ram, but then they gain control and they don't have any gates in place, so the ram shrinks back into a 2/2. So the ram is actually not too painful. Yeah, if they steal Colossus, but they don't destroy it, so they just deal 8 to the face. It's not bad. But Devil, sure. Yeah, if we trigger things correctly, we can draw the Gate Colossus here. But we might just want to root first. Let's see, how many gates do we have? 3. So with 2 more gates, 3 more gates, Colossus costs 2, so we can do both. So let's root. I guess they might counter this instead. Alright. So this first. Draw the Colossus. And then we can see if it resolves first before playing the gate. Since we couldn't cast anything else this turn anyway. Counters it, and then we just get it back once again. And then we could even discard the Gate Colossus to Angrath and then get it back by playing the District Guide. But I think Lava Coil is going to be less useful. Alright, Nicol Bolas. I guess we'll discard Colossus. Is Angrath going to ultimate next turn? No, 2 turns. But yeah, Nicol Bolas is going to transform and can deal 10 damage, so that's enough to kill a Gate Colossus, sadly. And then we discarded Lava Coil, so kind of got punished. Guess we'll discard Colossus. Not a bad draw. So we can District Guide, get a Gate, replay Colossus, play Ram. Sadly without haste. And then they can kill the Ram with Angrath. They can kill Colossus with Nicol Bolas, but then we still have a Guide. Yeah, we kind of needed either Rhythm of the Wild, another Guild Summit. I guess they countered the second one we played. Or just more Gate Colossus in general. They had just enough removal to keep Angrath alive and to protect him. Ritual of Soot. Not bad.
No fire, no steel.
Couldn't they have transformed Nicol Bolas though? I think that would have been better. Or they may be planning to win the game with Angrath ultimates, but it's... yeah, I don't know. Gates ablaze. 5, 6, 7. Let's double check here. 5, 6, 7. Alright, that's actually a good number here. Kill Angrath. And Ablaze. Kill Nicol Bolas. Alright, back in business. Both top decking, but we have a Guild Summit in play and a Gate Colossus. That's a good one to refuel. But we have a lot of live draws here. Alright, let's get a gate. Alright. Flipped Search is going to be difficult to beat. But we'll see. Yeah, I have a lot of live draws here. Additional copies of Gate Colossus. Guild Summit would be probably one of our better draws. Alright, another Nicol Bolas instead. So now Gates Ablaze would deal 8 damage, killing the Colossus too. Alright, Ral's not bad. Start by attacking here, see if they maybe kill Colossus. Alright, sure. Pretty sure we have enough instants and sorceries in the graveyard here. Alright. Got a Ral in play, hopefully get to untap with it. They've already used their fair share of bedevils. Alright, Jumpstart Insight, discarding Quench. Not too useful here. Yeah, Quench plus Chemist's Insight is also nice synergy, since you can discard it late when it doesn't do anything.
Oh, come on. I just want to peek. The weight is killing me.
Right, should have some gates left. Draw Colossus. Colossus against control decks is pretty sweet. 0 mana 8/8. And if we had a Rhythm of the Wild in play, it would be GG. Alright, let's see how they deal with this. Thought Erasure, be my guest. Opponent gets to Surveil. Alright, well. Alright, how about this draw? Bit on the slow side, but plenty of answers to creatures. And hopefully we find a third land at some point. Turn 1 Ladder Elves. Alright, better find that third land soon. Double Elves. Oh, come on, land. Untap land. Alright, not quite. Feel like we Lava Coil on Elves here. Alright. I mean, I guess now we could District Guide, play it slow. Get an island so we can root next turn, and then Gates Ablaze as insurance. Maybe make them use a removal spell on District Guide to get the Harpooner through. And I think we get an island so we can play root next turn, which gets us 2 more gates. Nice, Spellbreaker, sure. So 4/4. So now we'll root, get 2 more gates in play. Yeah, Guild Summon's good too, but I think we just want to develop our mana. We'll get an Izzet and Simic. And now the Gates Ablaze can wipe the board. And we're in pretty good shape. Alright, so we can Ablaze and play Colossus, seems good. Yeah, Gates Ablaze just destroys aggro decks. We've got a bit of life gain with our Plaza, and then we're just playing very big threats to close out the game quickly. The deck is definitely promising. Alright, this has potential if we can find green mana now. The Plaza doesn't make green mana at the moment, sadly. Yeah, let's try it. Just need to draw one of our 8 guild gates, or 3 forests. Open the gates doesn't quite work, sadly. With any land we still get to play guild summits, which hopefully draws us into what we need. Alright. Yeah, that's also the drawback of not having green, because open the gates kind of counts as a mana source in the deck. But if you don't have the green mana, then it doesn't actually do anything. So it looks like our opponent has built the treasure deck that we're maybe gonna build as well today. Alright, there we go. I think we'll get the untap land so we can root. Scoundrels. So we'll probably take a beating and then Gates Ablaze. Let's get one of each, I guess. Alright, so now we can do some stuff. Can wipe the board with gates. Can play Guild Summit if we want to. Smothering Tithe. So they probably have the win condition for having 10 treasures in play. I'm guessing we want a Guild Summit plus Gates Ablaze, or we can make sure we hit our land drop by playing the District Guide, which might be more... I guess we also get 2 treasures from the Scoundrels. So I guess if we Gates Ablaze, then we can still play a Ral, or we can play a Root, or we can keep the treasures and play a Guild Summit. Let's start here. Playing a Ral is pretty nice. Root gives us 2 lands, but it's better to root when we have Guild Summits in play. I think I'll Guild Summit here. And not waste any treasures yet. And then next turn we have a lot of options. We can play second Guild Summit into Root, draw a million cards. Do want to be careful about this Smothering Tithe here, since... yeah, if our opponent gets to 10 treasures, we might just lose the game. And they've got 3 of them already. So what if we pay 2 for the Tithe next turn? Let's see, if we pay 2, then we can still Guild Summit into Roots. I think we do pay. And then go Guild Summit. Into Root, and then Root gives us the mana to keep paying for the Tithe. And they don't have enough mana to cast like the 5 mana counterspell for treasures, which could be pretty painful too, especially if we cast a Gateway Colossus, because if they counter that, then they get 8 treasures. Alright, bit of card draw. Oh, we're also giving them... ooh, I forgot about this part. Alright, well, I guess that kind of defeats the purpose of paying 2 mana on our upkeep. Whoops. I thought this was only for the first draw step each turn. I guess not. Alright, so opponent's got 1,000,000 treasures now. Sure. I mean, have all the treasures you want at this point. Alright, so this rhythm is going to be important to give us hasty beatdown creatures. So it's pretty important that this resolves. So I think we'll start there, see what they want to do about it. Alright, resolves. So now we just want to find more creatures. We can Lava Coil the Sailor of Means, we can play District Guide, get a Guild Gate, we can Ral, but Ral can get countered. I mean, if they have the win condition, then we're probably in trouble. Let's start here. Get a Gates. And then just Lava Coil, and then we can still Growth Spiral. So yeah, we might be in trouble here. Revel in Riches is the card we're afraid of. Contract Killing. Sure. I mean, we're probably going to get to 10 treasures even without our help. So our best hope is finding some hasty Colossi here. All the treasures. All decline. Let's Guild Gate it up. Draw some more cards. Opponent can have all the treasures they want. Alright, let's root. Just need to find creatures here, so we'll root to get more gates, to get more cards. Don't have a ton of gates left. So many triggers. Alright, there's one Colossus. Need another one, and then maybe a boar or a goat. Alright, there's a goat. So we might be doing it here. Depths of Desire, sure. If they have another one of those, they could bounce their creature, I guess. But this is one lethal goat. And they can't counter because of rhythm. Hornswoggle, sure. You get your treasure, but I still get my ram. Well, that's 20 damage, but let's Growth Spiral just in case we draw into another Colossus and they have a bounce spell here. Alright, let's put this in play. Draw some more cards. Alright, GG's. Temur Gates getting the job done. Alright, hand looks okay. Opponent's ramping. Alright, there's a goat. Hadana's Climb, alright. I guess we'll play a Ram. Three mana 4/4. Next turn it's gonna be a 6/6. Sure. So we'll get blue-green and I guess another blue-green. Hey, thanks for the $5 donation there, Everwake, appreciate it. Janky gift for a janky deck, thanks. Alright, so next turn we can maybe go root into Gate Colossus. Since we'll have 6 gates in play, Colossus costs 2, so we can do both. Hadana's Climb is definitely scary. Crisis could hit us for at least 6. I think we want to start with Root. And we'll get Gruul, and we'll get... is it? Alright, let's start by attacking, see what they do. Is Ral even necessary? I wouldn't say it's necessary, it's just a nice card to have access to. But definitely not necessary, no. Alright, Frilled Mystic. Sure. So they could have countered the Root, but decided not to. Who knows? At 23, I don't think they can kill us out of nowhere here. Enter the Unknown. So they gotta come up with some answers to our creatures here. We currently have 6 gates in play, so Gates Ablaze, one-sided sweeper effect too. And our opponent packs it in. Well, that went pretty well. Alright, well, I think that's gonna be it for the Gates deck so far. But yeah, that was a fun ride with the Gates deck. We'll definitely see it in action a whole lot more in the future here. I also want to thank all my patrons for being part of the channel, and you can become a patron yourself today and decide the topic of future videos over at patreon.com/LegenVD.